That was me.
Baby, 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 you driving me wild, you driving me so crazy. Got me acting out, got me tryna stay sober. Wanted your love and I'm out here hungover.
Hey y'all, it's Kim and welcome back to another video. So before we start this video, I need y'all to make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. That is the main thing. I need y'all to subscribe. I got a lot of stuff coming. But today I want to share with y'all my weight loss journey. My goodness, it's been a long one, and I'm so glad that I went through it because I think it shaped me as a person. When I was in 8th grade, I was around 180 pounds. Yes, 180 pounds, and I'm 5'2". So 180 pounds on a short person does not look good. And I used to get teased. I used to, people used to make slick comments that I used to try to shake off my shoulder or whatever. And it took a lot for me to get myself to really love myself for who I was. And I think that really played a role in it. I tried diets so much. I tried almost any diet you could probably think of, and it never worked for me. And I wonder why. Because I was stressed. And that's what really took me down, because food was my best friend. And although I like to eat a lot of fruits, and I ate a lot of fruit, when you eat a lot of fruit, sometimes that adds up. And that's what took me down. I could never lose the weight. I was just gaining and gaining and gaining. Even my family members sometimes made some comments. But, it paid off. And I'm very thankful for everything I went. But without further ado, let's get into it. Going into my 9th grade year, in the summer of my 8th grade year, I was still around 180 pounds. And I'm going to show you that picture. But in that time period, I started to really get to know who I was and learn myself for who I was. So going into 9th grade, I was confident. I was really ready for it. Whew, Lord, thank God for high school. When I started high school in 9th grade, I became the girls basketball manager. I did this for 2 years. So when I first started becoming the girls basketball manager, I was there every day to 5 o'clock, every day. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock sometimes, even 7 o'clock sometimes. And I stopped eating less. And when I did that, like, my stomach started shrinking. 1, I started drinking a lot more water because that was the only thing that was around. 2, and the third thing was I became more happy. I stopped worrying about the things that were going on at home, and I started worrying about what was right in front of me. And I enjoyed it. I loved it. Shout out to Coach Wilson and shout out to the basketball team, because they made my freshman and sophomore year so fun. And sometimes I think without that, I don't know if I would have lost the weight. I had so many responsibilities with them. I had to make sure they were ready. I had to make sure their clothes were ready. Anything a manager would have to do, I had to do it. And my coach expected the utmost of me. She expected everything from me. So I couldn't slack. I could not slack, because if I slacked, I would hear from her. I can promise you, they're back-to-back state champions. I would hear from her. So I couldn't slack. My point of saying it is, when I start putting my mind on other stuff, I stopped thinking about food. I stopped stressing. I started having a good time within myself. I started understanding my self-worth. I started understanding the love that I should give myself. After a couple months of doing that, I started dropping instantly. People would come up to me and be like, you lost so much weight, you lost so much weight. And I wouldn't even see it. People see stuff on you that you don't see. And when I started hearing that, I started getting more confident. I kept on doing what I was doing. I had to drink the water because that was the only thing available at sometimes. And I'm not the biggest water fan. So I was drinking water. I was eating my fruit, but I wasn't eating as much. I was investing into something that I actually loved and enjoyed. And I was having fun. The stress went out the window. And that was the main thing for me that was really keeping that weight up, the stress. You gotta let go of the stress. That's the number one thing that you need to do, is let go of the stress. You better pray and let go of the stress. I can't stress that enough. Like, stress puts weight on you. It truly does. And I never understood that until I got into high school and realized all the stuff I would worry about. Because I used to worry about what people thought of me. I used to worry about how people thought of me. And that took me down. I had other stuff I was worrying about. My parents were going through something, which made me eat a lot also. All of that played a factor in my weight gain. So, like I said, I started dropping the weight. And as I kept going, weight steadily started coming off. I involved myself in sports. I started playing softball. When I started playing softball, weight was instantly dropping off again. I was even skinnier than I was in the first place. I kept going. I kept pushing. It's like I saw myself do a 360. A 360. Because I let the stress go. And that's why I can't stress to you enough that you have to let the stress go if you want to lose weight in your life. You have to let it go. And of course you have to exercise. I started exercising in a sports way. Some people might like to go running and jogging without having a sport involved, but me, I personally don't like to do it if I don't have like a ball in my hand of some sort. I need to have a sport to motivate me to keep going. So when I kept doing that, you know, everything started to come in place with my weight. I started dropping, and another thing is I stopped worrying about my weight after a while. I was okay with myself, and when I became okay with myself, that's when the weight started coming down. I stopped worrying about how big I was. I stopped getting on a scale every day to check how much I weigh, because you can't do that. You cannot do that. That doesn't work. So, all in all, like, my point of this is a lot of people think it takes a lot to lose weight, but it really doesn't. You need to let the stress go. You have to. You can find your ways to exercise like I did. You don't need to exercise in an excessive way for this to work. You don't. And you don't need to stress about how much you weigh. Because be happy with yourself. You don't need nobody else to tell you how pretty you look. You know you look good. Like, all of the extra stuff is a bonus. That's a bonus. As long as you know that you look good. And I had to learn that for myself. And although my parents always told me how pretty I was and everything, it's like sometimes you look for validation from another person, if you get what I'm saying. From somebody that you want it from. And you have to stop that. You have to stop that. I don't think you'll ever truly be happy if that's all you want. You need to be happy within yourself. And like I said, that's what I had to learn to lose my weight. It didn't take diets. It didn't take diets for me to lose weight. It took me to let go of my stress and become happy with myself for the weight to drop. It took me to stop worrying about how big I was and worried about my actual health. Because you can be big and healthy. You can be big and healthy. You don't have to be super skinny to be healthy. You can be big and healthy. And once that happened, weight started dropping. And I wouldn't stress this enough. And I have this whole video. Let the stress go. Let it go. It really tears you down. And I can really attest to that. And when food is your best friend, that's a true enemy right there. When food is your best friend, if that's the only thing that you can go to, you can't talk it out with anybody, or you shut down and you go to food, that's going to tear you down. That's going to take you down. I can promise you that. You don't need all the extra stuff, but you gotta let the stress go. And that was the biggest factor for me, personally. That was my biggest challenge, my biggest battle, to let go of the stress and stop worrying about things that I couldn't change. You gotta stop worrying about the things that you can't change. Because if you can't change it, you just gotta give it to God. And I wish I would have taken this advice when I was younger, because I went through so much of this. And I can promise you 100% that my weight gain was on stress. When I was younger, I had a big situation that happened that changed my life completely. And the only thing that really made me feel comfortable was food. The only thing. Because on one side I was hearing some things, and on the other side I was hearing some things. And I'm sure a lot of kids go through divorces, and it's really hard to go through them. It's super hard. And my heart goes out to everybody that goes through them. I was a skinny baby. And it's like, as soon as this happened, it's like my body just started gaining. That was my friend. I was hurt. And it was stress. And it's hard for all that to be on a little kid. Like, it's the hardest thing ever to go through. And when you're going through it and you feel like you can't talk to either your parents, although you might be able to, it's hard. You don't want to hurt them. You already feel like, is it something I could have done better? That was my tragic change. That was what made me gain all that weight. And it transferred to middle school and high school. I finally just let it go. To this day, I still struggle with it, but I just let it go. And I don't try to change what I cannot change at this point. It is what it is. I just gotta move forward. I'm going on 19 in December. Gotta let it go. And that's just all I can do. But thank y'all for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If y'all stayed the whole time, please put in the comments that y'all did. If y'all even watched a little bit and it helped y'all, that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. I just really want y'all to understand that y'all need to let the stress go. And I know a lot of people deal with it. Just let the stress go and just watch. Just watch how you start to lose the weight if you let the stress go. It's a serious thing. A lot of people go through it. Just let it go. But make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all soon with my next video. Let me know what y'all want. I'm down for anything like I said. But thank you so much for listening to my weight loss journey. And I'm out, y'all. Bye.
Girl, you know you cute.